It seems to be there are successive and rocking spates of murders of high-profile South Africans and gangsters and crime fighters. Whistleblower Peter Deokaran, controversial businessman Lolly Jackson and Brett Kebbel, as well as the anti-gang unit detective Charles Kinnear's names come to mind. Rumbidzai Matamba is an analyst at Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, and she joins us to tackle the issue of paid-for killings, hits or assassinations in South Africa. Rumbidzai Matamba, thank you for your time. I know you've done this interesting study. What are the trends that you're seeing?
Thank you for having me, Erin. So some of the trends that we're seeing from the data that we have been collecting since the year 2000 are that targeted killings in South Africa are increasing. So on our data set from the year 2000 up until 2014, we see steady ebbs and flows with peaks in 2001 and 2007, those attributed to taxi-related killings. And then from 2014 onwards, we see a sharp increase in targeted killings with a peak happening in 2018. And those highs, again, are being contributed to taxi-related killings mostly within the Gauteng region in 2018 in particular.
Sure, so interesting. So some of those spikes you've identified is very clearly linked to skirmishes in the taxi sector. How do you actually determine that killing has been paid for, that it's a hit, an assassination, and not some other kind of murder?
So because we rely solely on open source information, so these are news reports that are available on online databases, as well as additional information such as court documents. Those usually provide details, especially on whether the transaction has taken place and whether the killing has been paid for, and whether police or the Department of Justice officials categorize a killing as a contract killing. So that's the information we rely on for our data set.
And in terms of contract killings, is it always money, or can it be other kinds of inducement to the trigger woman or man?
So our research shows that the killings are for gain, and this gain can be monetary or otherwise. So, for example, under the category where we look at political-related killings, sometimes the gain is in the form of getting a position up within a political party or within a political position.
Sure, that is really interesting. So you looked at political killings in particular. What other key areas besides maybe taxi-related violence were areas of special focus?
So our database collects data on 4 categories, the 2 that you've mentioned, tax-related and political killings, but we also collate data on organized crime-related killings. So these are killings that involve gangs, drug dealers as well. And then under this category, we also include killings of criminal justice professionals. Here, the recent murders of Kluta Murray and his son Thomas coming up, as well as the past murder of Lieutenant Charles Kinnear as well coming up within this category. And then we also collate data on personal killings. So these are killings conducted within the personal category, where it's usually people that are known to each other that take out hits on each other.
So would that be something like seeking out maybe life insurance on a relative or something within the kind of more domestic sphere?
Absolutely. So it's mainly what we have found from our research is that it's mainly for insurance purposes. And so within the report, which you will see later as you go through it, we do actually have a profile on a case that involves an insurance fraud element to it.
Very somber area of research. Just lastly, Rumbidzai, if you could please, Ms. Matamba, tell us, do you see global links in these patterns? I mean, obviously your initiative focuses on kind of global transnational dynamics. Where does that play into the contract killings in South Africa?
So this research forms part of a bigger project within the global initiative known as the Assassination Witness Monitor. So where we collate data on targeted killings across the world. And some of the similarities we have seen are, one, on the type of weapon that is used, usually firearms coming up as the most prevalent weapon of choice for targeted killings. And then we also see similarities in the fatality rates, where most of the time when hits are contracted, the person that the hit is taken out on will unfortunately die.
Rumbidzai Matamba there, analyst at the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. Thank you for your time and your input on that research.